Hi, I'm Brian Welk here in TheWrap's virtual Sundance studio for 2022. And today we are talking about Emergency, and I am joined by the full cast and director and writer. Thank you all so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Carey, let's start with you. So you were at Sundance last year with your Romeo and Juliet film, and you were also here at Sundance in person for with an emergency short. So what led you to want to adapt this for a feature to expand it?
I mean, Katie, the writer, she and I, after we made the short, we felt like we could tell a larger story. That we made that short and it did pretty well. And I kind of put her on blast when people were asking do you have a feature? And I was like, yes. And she's like, oh shit, well I guess I should start writing it. And we spent some time thinking about what that feature would be. For me, it was a expansion of the friendship between Sean and Kunle, really getting into the nuances of that, what that looks like, because I felt the short left the question of where does that friendship go? And so that was my way in the feature version. And Katie did a great job of writing what one night would look like, but still have the space to explore that friendship. And added, some really, great new characters to really sort of make this expand it out in a good way. So yeah, that was it.
So this movie is a lot of fun. It's wild. It's funny. It's silly up until the point when it absolutely is not and gets very serious. Talk about bringing in these stakes and these really big themes into a college story, something that's told over one night, but then gets very, very real and very very serious all of a sudden.
Talk about this.
Just how did you manage the tone, and where did you find the balance in your script?
Yeah, I mean, again, it'd be great if Katie was here to kind of expand on that too, as she was the writer of the film. But for me, the North Star was always the relationships and the friendship, and not trying to play any of this for laughs, but play it as if this is very real for Sean, Kunle, and Carlos. In this evening, and the situations that they're in were humorous, and the decisions that they were making and what was honest stakes for them, there was humor in that, and how they reacted to each other and how they would either execute those choices or get out of those things, or what the domino effect was of everything that happened. So playing it honestly and truthfully to the characters was always my thing. And the absurdity of some of the situations would bring humor on its own.
Donald and RJ, let's start with you two. How did you come to this project? What drew you to the story, and how did you build the relationship and the chemistry between the two of you? Donald, if you want to start.
Oh man, it's fun because RJ was cast before I was. So when I saw RJ's name, like, oh, you're going to be doing your, chemistry read with RJ Cyler. And I was like, wait a minute, because my kid had been going off about Power Rangers. We had just watched it 3 weeks ago again, rewatched it. And he's been talking about RJ for a week and a half. So it was like, oh, you're doing this with RJ Cyler? And I was like, oh man, this is great. This is really crazy. And it was just an instant thing, just like an instant chemistry. I remember we popped on and RJ was like, yeah. And that's how we greet each other now. Yeah. We're all nervous, okay, all right, here we go. Don't throw up. Just remember what you do, you're here for. And and I don't know. It was just one of those things where you don't have to work at anything. It's just there. It's just a genuine feeling with genuine people. And and having that with him just kind of set the tone. And then we get a chance to meet Sebastian and bring him into the fold. And then it just really felt like that core group, like we've been friends forever. So I really owe that to them, you know. But yeah, that's what really drew me to it. And then reading the script and knowing that there's no right or wrong, you know, there's only different. So whether you call the cops or not, coming from, you know, wherever you come from, that's where, you know, that's what it's going to be. Like life experiences say, hey, this could equal danger. Hey, this could equal danger. And that's, you know, they're both right in that situation. So.
Yeah.
RJ, go ahead.
I came into the script. My team hit me with the script and told me that Carey was directing. And anytime you say Carey's directing, you got me up front and ready. You know, as you said, last year we did Romeo and Juliet, you know, at Sundance. And that was the first time me and Carey had got to meet. And then so when I heard that he was doing something like, you know, and then we had the chemistry reads and things of that nature. And once Donald got on, I was like, yeah. And then when we started to play, it was like, oh, hell yeah. You know, then it started to meld so good. And you could see the comfortability, right, start to do this right after the first line. Right after the first line of takeoff, Donald became Kunle. You know, so you wouldn't even be able to recognize his nerve. It was just like talking to one of my brothers. I got two brothers. I'm the youngest baby, right? So it was just like that. And so that was something I even talked to my mom about. I was like, yo, I did a chemistry read today with this dude, Donald. And it's so weird because I feel like he came from us and we came from them. So we need to see what it, you know. And it was so cool. And then when we got to read with Sebastian, right? Oh, Sebastian blew my mind.
I remember that.
Look, we actually talked about Sebastian probably for another like 30 minutes because
we talked to each other after, right?
Yeah. Yep. It was like Sebastian came on. He was actually eating an apple before he actually got on. He didn't stop his snacking to do it. He didn't stop. He made it a part of the character. And that blew my mind. Like, what? I was like, we don't even need to read with nobody else. We just read with him. We read with Carlos. We just read with Carlos. Yeah. And it was so great because even getting to meet with each other when we finally got to Atlanta, right? It was like, bro, yeah. Right. Yeah, we finally here. All of us are finally here. You know, it was like getting the kind of link. I was like, Carey, bro, you got it. I can't lie.
I definitely remember that. I remember that when after he read, like, I was like, yo, and we all just like looked at each other like, that shit.
Yeah. That's one of those moments that it's like, I hope he got off and knew, okay, I booked it. You know, I pray that's what he said to himself. I pray he was just like, I got it, and finish the apple, because that's exactly how all of us feel. He's like, oh, word, cool, yeah.
And we lost Sebastian for a second, and he's back.
Man, I got disconnected right when y'all were gassing me up. I can't believe it.
I mean, Sebastian, tell us about your character. You know, it's a very specific voice, and they talk about your fanny pack that you've got and everything. I mean, where did you tap into this character? What did you have to do, or what did you do in that early reading that they knew? Oh, you booked it. Or
I mean, I like. It's weird with Kunle and Sean. Like, you get to kind of see who they are, like, before any of this stuff starts happening. You know, it's like they have a couple scenes like in school and like talking about stuff and like their daily business. But like Carlos, I think you get about like 15 seconds with him before it's like crisis mode. And then like as like he just, I you know, reading the script, I felt he was definitely like just a very anxious, like introverted individual. You know, they say like he doesn't leave his room for days and like he forgets to eat, you know. And sort of to watch him deal with this, like, as a person who is not comfortable with people, is just like, it's just a constant like regulating and like trying to not just have a breakdown. and then also like our dynamic, like the three of us, like and kind of having this natural like chemistry and friendship on set and everything, balancing that with also Carlos being like a little bit of an outsider and feeling like he's always edging into their relationship was it was fun, honestly. I remember we went in for ADR and I was trying to do like the Carlos voice, and I'm like, okay, I have to like really like hunch over and like start like just get really tense, and like tapping into that physically is fun. I'd forgotten what that felt like.
Okay, and Sabrina and Madison, you guys each have your own adventure on your own for a little while. Talk about, what were some of your challenges and what you saw in your character that in the script that made you want to do this project. Sabrina, if you want to start.
Yeah, it's like everyone's saying, it's so interesting too, because I think half of the time we got familiar with everybody very quickly. We were shooting nights basically the whole time, so I got to set delirious on day one. Because my bedtime's like 9 p.m. So I was like, wait, what? And so it was great because I think from then on out, it was like, there's this chaotic energy throughout like the whole film that we're kind of trying to like sustain. And I think that it was really easy for Madison and I mean, kind of like everyone else, we had never met, I had never met anyone before, our table read, and then we got to set, and it was a little too easy to like slide into the characters and slide into just the absolute mayhem that they were going through. And for us, we're kind of like, I think it's so funny watching the cat and mouse like dynamic, because our version of what's actually happening is so vastly different from what is actually happening. And so it's interesting to see like perception just overall throughout the film, going back and forth between kind of, the groups that are going through what they're going through. But I mean, truly, like Carey he sold me from the beginning, like when I met him, his vision, and just overall, like I was so blown away by watching the cinematography, and just like everybody on set like had to really be with it, because there was like really long, dark nights in the woods. I was in the dirt like long nights. Remember that one night? Like I was just like sitting in a ditch. Like,
yes, we crawled in the ditch. We were in there for hours.
I read the script. I read the script. I was like, I don't remember the ditch too long. I was in the ditch for a while, but like I got on everybody, so it was good.
I remember reading the script, and it takes place over one night, and I for some reason I was like, it didn't occur to me that I'd be like crawling around like from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. for the next like 2 months. And I was like, oh, we're just gonna shoot one night and it's gonna be good. Like, it was fun.
Dang.
And Madison, talk about your experience as well.
Oh, of course. So this kind of fell into my lap. The Ozark casting directors came to me with this one. Obviously, I trust their judgment a lot. And so it was always trying to find the right fit. Originally, they didn't really want me to come in for Alice because Sabrina and I look very similar with blonde hair, and so they didn't think that we like it just like wouldn't look good on screen. And so
identical twins, so it's hard.
But so I came back, and after I had met with Carey, I called my agent and I was like, I don't know what I have to do to be a part of this film, but I have to be a part of it. And he was like, oh, that's too bad. They passed. Like, they don't want you because you look like her. And I was like, I will change my hair. I will do. And so I went and edited together photos of me with brown hair and sent them over and was like, please, please, please. Like, I'll change my look. Like, I just have to be a part of this. And I think once the brown hair started to come into play and like kind of see the two looks of girls as best friends, it just all meshed together. And that first day of set, my character came more alive as like the mom of the group as soon as I was around Sabrina. It was just like dealing with the chaotic energy just fueled my mom instinct even more. And so I think Alice at every point is just trying to get everything under control and control everyone. But of course she can't, because there's no control of this entire situation. But Sabrina made it super easy to do my job.
I love you. Speaking on the mom thing, one of my favorite moments is when you gave her an entire first, middle, and last name when you're yelling at her like a mom. That shit was great. I was like, where did that come from? I still don't know what you said, but it was
I don't remember either, but one of the most incredible parts about being a part of this project is we have this amazing script, but Carey is also not afraid to let us like go with our instincts. And so I think because he allowed us to, we would do takes of the scene with the script, and then we would say, okay, so what's more here, like what would she say, how would she act, how can we like dig into these characters and make them even more themselves. And so it was moments like that I felt so comfortable on set with Carey to be able to make up a first, middle, and last name for Sabrina's character and scream at her, because that's what Alice would do, because they're best friends and she knows her so well.
And Maddie, we were just talking about all the other characters in the film. You're the central part of all of this mayhem. Talk about your character and how you got involved in the story, in the project.
My character is just a high schooler who's just trying to test her limits with these new experiences, and then goes too far, as one does when they first start out. And then she just walks in on the worst place to walk in. Just starts all this chaos in their lives. Did
you have a biggest challenge on set, or something that was most exciting to film or to try and get at?
Yeah, I mean, being drunk was really fun to play. Climbing the tree, puking.
You did an amazing job at it all. You were really great.
Yeah, it was wild. On one hand, we have like all this like friendly like improvised dialogue, and then Maddie's doing like a performance art, wordless performance piece here. Like it's just it's like this animalistic thing you're constantly dealing with.
All right. And Carey, I guess to close it out, what do you hope people watching this film take away, just, about race, about just moments of crisis, about how people would react in this situation?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple. I mean, look, I wanted to raise questions for people about how they perceive this threat, this situation for our characters. Look at if they think, hey, this would be easy for them, like, hey, they could just call or whatever. Why do they think that way? What does it say about them? And have a discussion with people about it. But I also really want, young Black men to see a representation of vulnerability between two Black friends that hopefully they will feel when they walk away from this film, like they can be emotional with their friends. They can show their friends that they care, tell them they love them, that kind of thing. Like, we don't see a lot of that, I think, or enough of that in film. So I hope that speaks to people in that way as well.
All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone. Congratulations on the film, and enjoy the rest of your Sundance.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good one. Peace.